Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Hey, let me tell y'all something. First, please subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. Jaron Boots Ennis. Matter of fact, let's just take a look at it right now. Let me tell y'all, that performance this past weekend, I can't lie, blew my mind. Talk about a guy now who's gone on to become 31 wins, 28 KOs, right? No losses. And I'm going to be honest with you. He doesn't lose anytime soon. I'm going to be quite honest with you. To watch him, right, in that brilliant display of offense and that brilliant display of defense, I don't know how many of you were watching that fight thinking to yourself, what the hell is going on? Now, we already knew Jaron Boots Ennis was a good fighter. I did say, like many others, before the Chikadzian fight, Jaron Boots Ennis passes the eye test, but let's see what happens when he gets in there and things don't go his way. Means he gets hurt, has to deal with adversity, is down on the scorecards. Let's see if he can find a way to win. Because when you talk about a guy like Mayweather, I've talked about this in another video. Mayweather has been hurt on several occasions in the ring. Out on his feet, okay, in one particular instance. And has found a way, and I'm not talking about Shane Mosley, I'm talking about Chop Chop Cody, okay? Mayweather was out on his feet. Found a way to somehow weather that storm, and we know how the fight ended. He knocked him out. Got in there with Shane Mosley. Took two huge shots, which Floyd Mayweather admitted were, violent shots. He told Shane Mosley, you're going to have to kill me. Shows you his mentality of find a way to win, and we know how the rest of the fight went. You look at guys like, from a Zab Judah, from a Muhammad Ali, from a Sugar Ray Leonard, from a Oscar De La Hoya, from, even a Mosley. You take a look at guys right now, Deontay Wilder. You look at just about any name, elite fighter, Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence. You look at any elite fighter right now, NO, present and old, right? They've all gone through adversity and have come back to pass the test with flying colors. Now, Jaron Boots Ennis this past weekend, this, in my opinion, was the test to see how would he deal with adversity. Some expected him to get hurt in the fight. There were a lot of people who thought he was going to lose. I didn't think he was losing, but I thought it was tough. Tougher than what it was. And I was like, man, we're going to see what happens because Roman Villa is not a guy who's ever been knocked down, hasn't been knocked out. And we're going to see what happens when he gets in there with the momentum that he's bringing into the ring against Jaron Boots Ennis. Seeing that Jaron Boots Ennis, after his last fight, a lot of us just kind of said, okay, he's not ready for Crawford and Spence. And let me tell you, what he was doing in that ring, jabbing, that jab, that's why I wanted to take a look at this right here, right? Because when you look at Jaron Boots Ennis, and I'm on the right side right now, okay, 26 years old, orthodox, really, it should say that he's ambidextrous because he fights orthodox and he fights southpaw. He's 5'10", 5'11" is my understanding, reached 74 inches. That jab he was throwing was a power jab, upstairs and downstairs. But I noticed when he was throwing it, he already had a 74-inch reach, right? But he gets the full extension on his jab when he decides to use that jab as an effective power shot. And that power jab made a big difference in that fight because it kept neutralizing Roman Villa. And that's what I talked about. I just did a video on this where I was talking about the importance of the jab and the jab being the difference for Crawford and Spence. Whoever can effectively implement their jab to neutralize the other person's offense, that's the person who could go on to win the fight. I just did a video on it. You go look at my channel. But what Boots Ennis was able to do with that jab is exactly what I was getting at in that video about Crawford and Spence. Roman Villa, he just couldn't get beyond it. And then when Boots started to open up, Let me tell you, you just can't. Let me tell you something. There are times where we've watched boxing and you've seen guys like, even, a Sean Bay Mitchell. You've seen guys like a Zab Judah. Of course, the Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard's, Oscar De La Hoya. And I'm talking about guys with those complete skill sets. You see a guy like Emmanuel Augustus, even him. But you see something that is special about a fighter. And it tells you it's going to be hard for somebody to beat him. The things that fighter is doing in that ring, it's not going to be easy to beat him. And with Jaron Boots Ennis, for this Saturday, this was the first fight I saw from him. I've always seen him. He's always looked spectacular, but I always questioned the opposition. But this was the fight for me that said, this guy is a problem. He's a problem. I mean, swivel jabs, orthodox, jabbing, stepping back, not the left foot going back. Now he's in southpaw stance. That same jab, the hand he used to throw the jab, he's now throwing the uppercut and right hook, and then stepping around and binging him, confusing Roman Villa. I mean, just playing with him. Angles, footwork, everything, right? Everything that a boxer can learn. He showed it in this fight. Now, not taken away from his performance, but Roman Villa was a good opponent for him to display his complete skill set, because he was right in front of him. He was coming, looking to knock him out, and Roman Villa wasn't really using much head movement. It wasn't doing anything really clever, except just looking to weather the storm and land his shots. But when he got in range, Boots Ennis, the defensive wizardry, right, was making Roman Villa miss everything, and making him pay. You know how. You look at Regis Prograis just fought a guy. If Regis Prograis could have made his opponent miss and pay, Regis Prograis would have stopped him. But Regis Prograis doesn't know how to fight inside like that. What you saw from Boots Ennis, I'm gonna tell you what. Right? Floyd Mayweather. When he was fighting, I was seeing Floyd Mayweather in that ring. I was seeing some Earl Spence in that ring. I was seeing some Terrence Crawford in that ring. I was seeing some Keith Thurman in that ring. Boots Ennis is the real deal, man. I'm going to tell you. And for me to say that takes a lot. But I still think for Boots, we got to see him in there now against some stiffer competition. And what I mean by that is, okay, Roman Villa was basically Devin Alexander versus Marcos Maidana. That was Maidana before he hooked up with Robert Garcia. All right? That's basically what that was. Still an outstanding performance. But let's see now what Boots Ennis can do against, let me see if I can pull it up while we're talking, right? Let's see what he can do, because as we scroll down here and we take a look at, let me pull this over. Let's just go over right here, right? And we look at these names right here of guys he's fought. When you come on down, you probably don't recognize these names. From 2019, October 5th, right? Damian Fernandez. You don't know who that is. Bakhtiar Iyubov, 2020. No one knows who that is. Now, when you get to 2020 in September, you know who Juan Carlos Abreu is. The name sounds familiar. Chris Van Herden. The name sounds familiar. Sergey Lipinets, who's extremely tough, right? He got in there and, Boots knocked him out. Knocked him out, man. It was actually blew my mind that he was able to stop him. I just didn't see that happening. He fought Thomas Delerme. I thought Thomas Delerme would have been able to put in more work. He knocked him out. Custell Clayton, what a joke of a fight that was. But he went out there and tranquilized him. Chikazian took him the distance, but Chikazian, he actually made the fight a little bit uncomfortable and he ran. Then Roman Villa, to get him out of there the way he did, I think it was the 10th round, absolutely impressive, because Roman Villa is not Chikazian. He's not Custell Clayton. He's not, this older version of Delorme. He's not Sergey Lipinets. Roman Villa can fight. So now, when you take all that into consideration, now let's go over here. Let me pull this up, okay? Maybe a little bit big. I may have to make the correction on it. Yeah, you can have it. Let me make this. Let let me pull this up for y'all real quick. I may have to adjust the size. But when you look at what's really out there for Jaron Boots Ennis now, let's go up. Let me go up. Okay. Right. Let me make this a little bit smaller so we can all watch it. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. Now we got to take a look for Boots Ennis. Go ahead and change him. It's my little man. I got a 5-year-old. Every time he always wants to change his clothes. So whenever he wants to change, he comes and he tells me. So it's all good, right? But now let's look for Jaron Boots Ennis. You got Spence and Crawford who are fighting. That's really Ennis. He's right there, but he still needs to prove himself a little bit more, in my opinion. But to me, as of right now, he's a number 3 guy. Ortiz Jr. is going to 154. He can't make 147. Stupid for him to have continued trying to fight at 147, damn near killing himself, if it's the working out and weight cut that's caused his condition. Stanley Eunice, let me tell you, he hasn't fought in damn near 18 months, 16, 17, 18 months. That's the fight for Ennis, but Stanley Eunice isn't going to take that fight. So really what you're looking at for Boots Ennis in his next fight, and this is the reality, people, is a Butev, Crowley, or one of these, not Villa, he just beat him. But when you come down here, you take a look where Boots Ennis is, Cody Crowley, Rashidi Ellis. Barrios, I don't know who Barrios is going to be fighting, but, you know, I don't know if Barrios is going to be, what his plans are, but I don't think Barrios would take that fight. I'm going to be honest with you. But the reality of it, when you look at what Boots Ennis is under the IBF, you got the number 1 vacant, the number 2 is Roman Villa, number 3 is Cody Crowley. Now, Cody Crowley's the number 2 over in the WBC, and he did a title eliminator where I thought that Crowley would be in line to fight the winner of Thurman Ugas. But I don't think for a second that the winner of Thurman Ugas is going to be looking to fight Jaron Boots Ennis, because Boots Ennis is an IBF guy. All right? So we got to understand, when it comes to these sanctioning bodies, sometimes, man, they don't be crossing over. But Cody Crowley is ranked number 3. And Boots Ennis just beat the number 2 rank for the IBF, Roman Villa. So the reality of the situation is Cody Crowley is more than likely the next opponent for Boots Ennis. And that's just being real. That's looking at it and understanding that Crowley is kind of right there in the same space as Boots Ennis, you know, right on the cusp of being ready for a title shot. You know, Virgil Ortiz he's no longer the mandatory. He's no longer, matter of fact, they're totally moving his name from 147. Keith Thurman is going to fight Ugas. I don't think Keith Thurman is going to want to fight Boots Ennis. If he beats Ugas, we have to see how that goes. Conor Benn's name, whether we like it or not, he could be vindicated this week, and then Conor Benn could be in the mix. But I think realistically, when you look at it, what's next for Boots Ennis, what's next for him is Cody Crowley. And I'm just being real with y'all. I think Cody Crowley is the next fight for him. Cody Crowley's 22-0. He's reminds me of Earl Spence, his fighting style, but he doesn't have the chin of Earl Spence, and he definitely he's going to need to work on some stuff other than just coming forward and letting shots go, because Cody Crowley could end up getting himself knocked out, and I think he would get knocked out if he was to fight Jaron Boots Ennis. Okay, so I'm just being honest with you. But I thought it was interesting what Boots Ennis posted on Instagram, so I'm going to share that with you. Let me move myself out the way here real quick. Okay, move this out the way. He says, thanking God for another one. I couldn't have done it without him. I felt tremendous last night, and I had a lot of fun. I can't wait to get back in there, man. Y'all haven't seen nothing yet. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I guess he meant to put that you all came out. Y'all showed up and showed out. The love was real. 31-0, 28 KOs now. And still, we're going to keep collecting. Bigger and better fights are coming. 32-0 and 29 KOs coming soon. I tell you what, when it comes to old Boots Ennis and this post that he just made, I'm going to tell you, man, I tend to believe what he's saying because he is on his way, and I think he's going to get Cody Crowley. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, if he does get Cody Crowley, he beats Cody Crowley. He doesn't just beat him, he knocks him out within 4 rounds. And that's just my prediction. But other than that, the comparisons between Boots and Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, I just seen a little bit of both fighters in him. Do I think he beats those guys right now? I don't know, because like I said, we haven't really seen him deal with adversity. He dealt with adversity in the form of people questioning his potential, but he hasn't dealt with adversity in the form of getting hit, getting buzzed, getting knocked down, being behind on scorecards and having to deal with that stress. He's, for the most part, had his way. And he has a lot to do with him having his way. So we got to be real. But when you start getting into talking about fighting, these killers, like Keith Thurman, I'd even say Butev, Stanley Eunice. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what's going on with Blair Cobb, but man, they need to get Blair Cobb back in the mix. But for Boots Ennis, we're going to see how it goes when the real deal starts. Because he's within that window now, man. You got to keep moving up the ladder, not reversing. An absolutely amazing skill set. I just think we're going to have to see, for all those skills he put on display against Roman Villa, if he can do that with elite fighters. Remember, guys like Spence has made elite fighters look somewhat ordinary. Terrence Crawford's made everybody look ordinary, so much to the point where people say Terrence Crawford hasn't fought anybody. They don't give Terrence Crawford any credit. Floyd Mayweather beat everybody, all those champions, and people still say Floyd Mayweather didn't fight anybody. Just stupid, okay? But for Boots Ennis, it is time for him to step up, and let's see if he can get in here with elite fighters and make them look average or ordinary. If he can do that, he's on his way, because he's the next generation, man. Crawford and Spence, whether you want to hear this or not, their time is over, man. They're going up to 154. Crawford may be able to hang around, but for the most part, 147 is done for those guys. Boots Ennis looks like the throne's going to be handed over to him. But, man, he's got a first. It's going to be between him and, in my opinion, Keith Thurman. But we got to see how that goes. And, man, that would be an amazing fight because Keith Thurman's going to bang. He's not going to run. He may use some lateral movement, but he'll stop and fire on the dime. And we're going to see a Boots Ennis, who does get hit on occasion, how he's going to handle a guy like Keith Thurman. Because Keith Thurman can still fight. Yeah, he's been inactive. Even I would favor Boots over him. But we know what Keith Thurman brings to the table. Especially if he comes back, gets this fight against Yugas, looks good, then goes again at the end of this year and fights a guy like Boots Ennis. That would be amazing because that means Keith Thurman's been active and been in the gym. Then, if Boots Ennis gets the win, you got to give him credit. But if, for some reason, Keith Thurman goes inactive again, then Boots catches him after he's been out the ring a year or so, and he gets the win, you can't really give him that credit. Because it's just, you got to fight somebody who's active. You know what I'm saying? But that being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans. In my opinion, Boots Ennis, he has passed the eye test, but has officially passed the test. And he is on his way. Keep moving up the ladder. Do not reverse. Very impressed with the way that guy fights, man. It was crazy. I'm telling you, man, it's been a long time since I've seen somebody do what he did, offensively and defensively. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. I am in the breeze.